By now, your kids or maybe your friends have told you about this thing called ChatGPT. It's an artificial intelligence-powered chatbot that allows for human-like conversations. Well, this week, the federal privacy watchdog and some of their provincial counterparts launched an investigation into the company behind that chatbot. The complaint that sparked the investigation claims OpenAI unlawfully collected, used, and disclosed personal information without consent. The probe comes as some AI experts are pleading with corporations behind scaled-up AI to press pause and give governments time to regulate it. Why are the people behind developing this technology so worried about what it can do? Joining me now is Yoshua Bengio. He's an artificial intelligence pioneer, one of the so-called godfathers of AI, and the founder and scientific director of the Montreal Institute for Learning Algorithms. Hi, Professor Bengio. Good to see you. Thank you very much for making the time.
My pleasure.
Professor, you've been working in this space for decades now. Did you ever envision through that time arriving at the point we're at today?
I really didn't expect that it would come so quickly. I thought that the level of competence we see now may happen in 20 or 50 years, if you had asked me just a few years ago. Of course, in the last years, we've seen the acceleration coming along.
You are among the people who signed a letter, one of the first people, I believe, to sign a letter advocating for a pause in AI and in the development of AI while some sort of regulation is figured out. What do you see as the threat AI is posing right now?
Okay, so first, we do not advocate a pause in AI in general, but only in these very powerful systems that concern me. Like it started with ChatGPT, and then just before the letter, we had GPT-4. And what's special about these systems and others that we might build in coming months and years is that they can pass for a human if you have a conversation with them. And that's where it gets dangerous. They could easily propagate disinformation in a way that's much more powerful than we already have with social media, where they could have a personal interaction with you, get to take advantage of things they know about you from social media, get to know you through a dialogue, and scale up the army of trolls that can really change our politics in ways that I think we would not agree with, and that we should be careful about. So that's one danger. The other danger is it means we are getting much closer than we expected to AI systems that have at least the same level of intelligence as humans. And there we enter into a realm where there's even more unknown, because we've never had that experience of interacting with species more intelligent than us. How are these systems going to behave with humans? Can we make them safe? There's so many unknowns, and we need to be careful how we manage those risks.
I want to follow up on the latter risk, the risk of how do we make sure it's safe? Because I think that's what has gripped the attention of so many people across the world right now, this idea that really humanity could potentially be at risk. Do you share that concern?
Yes. And it's been difficult in some sense to shift my views on this, because if you've been working on something for decades and you've built your whole career and motivation on the idea that you would bring good to the world, and indeed AI is bringing a lot of good, and in the healthcare, in the environment, in making all kinds of processes more efficient, more productive, but now you start realizing that there are much greater dangers than we even thought about, at least that I thought about a few years ago. It's challenging psychologically speaking, but I think we have also a responsibility when we are scientists in this area to look at things in a neutral way, not just our emotions about it. And if we think that there is a risk, a danger, we need to engage with everyone, and citizens and the other experts outside of AI and governments, so that we can better understand what are the potential bad scenarios and how we can prevent them.
Let me ask you then, for Canadian policymakers specifically who are watching this interview right now, what is your advice to them?
Right. So we have this bill in front of Parliament, IDA, which is meant to help us regulate AI, and this is great. And we're probably one of the leading countries working on such regulations. But I don't think we can afford to wait several years before we start rolling out regulations out of it. So that's my first thing. Second, at the time when the law was prepared, people were concerned about issues of privacy, discrimination, and that's important. But since then, we've had these AI systems that can, essentially master language, like ChatGPT, and that introduces new risks. And we need to make sure our laws and regulations are going to address that.
And can I ask you just before I let you go, Professor, when we talk about laws or regulations that will address it, I feel like there's a big, everyone's saying we need more regulation. A lot of people, I should say, are saying we need more regulation. But specifically, like, what does that mean? Is it regulating the deployment of it? Is it making sure AI is always identified as such? Like, what are the keys to successfully regulating this, do you think?
So in the short term, one of the easy but important things we need to do is to make it very difficult, illegal, and punish very strongly to impersonate humans. So when a user is interacting with an AI, it has to be very clear that it's an AI. In fact, we should even know like where it comes from, like which company made it. So counterfeiting humans should be as bad as counterfeiting money. And there are technical ways that, for example, watermarking and so on, that could be enforced to make sure that it's easy for companies like social media to do that. We also need that these platforms make sure that whoever has an account is a known legal entity. So is a person or a corporation, not some anonymous kind of thing. And like a bank account, like you can't open a bank account if you don't show your identity. So because otherwise any nefarious person or corporation could hide behind this curtain and start using these AI systems and social media in ways that could be really dangerous for our democracy, for example.
Okay, Professor, I have to leave it there. I'm out of time. I appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.